All right, good morning. We are here working in VCarve today so that we can get some information on that 5 board bench and you can start. So I'm going to start with the top part, and as you recall, we'll go in, we'll create a new file. Parameters at first, we've got to set up our job size in the job setup tab. So the width on our board here, notice that's the X. So in this case, while it says width, that's actually going to be the length of our finished board. In this case, the length of our board is 48 inches. So I'm going to type in 48 there. And the height in VCarve is actually the width of our board, which is 11.25 or 11 1/4 inches. Now, VCarve, in this case, you do need to enter the decimal format, so you have to convert fractions to decimals. Notice our material, once the thickness, we are basically planing these top benches down to 3/4 of an inch, so set that to 0.75. And our Z0, the height, should be at the top, so set that there. Now, in my XY datum position, I'm going to set that to the lower left-hand corner, which is basically going to make it a little easier for us to set stuff up on the machine with the way machine X0, Y0 set. My units are in inches, so I will click OK. And I have my material laid out. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you real quick how we just input some text. So I will go in here, making it real easy. It's pretty easy. You have your file operations menus up here, your 2D view control menus, your create vector tools, which is where we want for text. And you'll see I have 2 choices for text. I've got draw text or draw text within a vector box. So I'm going to just draw some text here, and it comes up with the create text menu. So I'm just going to type in Go Sages, put an exclamation point. Now I have some different types and styles of font, so you have to be careful with font because it will make a difference as far as how we're able to machine that. So there are some fonts that work really well when we go to cut and machine it, and other fonts that don't work at all. So I can have my text alignment either left, center, or right, and the text height. So I'm going to start out right now. Now notice your text height is going to be based on the width of the board here. Now I've got 11 1/4 inches on this, so I can go ahead and put in 11 1/4, or let's just make it 11, just so you'll see. Notice my anchor point here is setting to 0, X0, Y0. So that's going to set that right off of there. And if I hit apply now, notice right there's where it goes. And my height, I can clearly see, is too high. So let's go ahead, before I hit apply, I'll change this out. Let's just go 8 inches and apply. And we have some different there. Now, notice this is one of those funky texts that I was talking about. This would be very difficult for us to actually machine this. But right now, because of where it's saying the anchor is at 0, 0, let's see what happens if I put X of maybe 10 and a Y of 2 in there and apply that. Notice how it kind of moves things over for you. Now we're still not seeing the go on that part, so let's drop this down now to maybe 6 inches. Apply that. You're starting to see where go is still over there. So let's set the anchor point here. We're going to move this over some more. We're going to say 15, and we'll make this 3. I hit apply. Notice I'm doing all of this as I kind of go, and I'm just kind of showing you how you can manipulate. Now let me close this out for just a second. We'll click on this. Notice I have these tabs and stuff, so I can actually now kind of move that box to where I want. And that would be a text that I get. Again, I mentioned that this font is not a good font, so I'm going to go back, click on that. If I double left click, so we'll get that back up, go back into that text, it's still up there, change to a different type. You can play around here, all sorts of different, maybe try century. Again, funky text, it's not going to work real well, so just try a couple different types of text here. So here's just a simple line. That one would work. It would just kind of go around as we put that in there. So for right now, I'll go ahead and stick with that. And we'll apply it, close. Nothing fancy on our text there, but that gives me that setup. Now, remember, all I have to do with something like this is to generate, and we'll talk about different toolpaths. I'm just going to do this to show it to you. If I switch to toolpaths, if I've got my text highlighted, I can go right over here. We'll just use the VCarve quick engraving tool. The start depth is set at 0. We'll go 1/8 of an inch deep to it, so I'll change that to 0.82 or 0.125 for 1/8 of an inch. Notice I'm using a V bit here, so that's good. And I'll just hit calculate out. Notice ignored group open vectors, so it doesn't like that particular style. So you'd have to play around with this a little bit. So making some changes here as we go, and we'll get into some of that a little bit later here too, so that you can get a better understanding of how all of this works. The main thing I want to see right now is you doing some drawing. This is a way for you to put in some text on that top point, and I'll come back and I'll show you in a little bit here how we can actually insert some images and create some image art on that as well. So thanks for watching. Follow it along, give it a try yourself.